hola YouTube, or hi Amazon. Over the spring break, I got about 4 hours of sleep the day we came back, which is today. So last night, I got about 4 hours of sleep. Well, actually this morning. So during that time period, I started hallucinating around, we got out Friday. Around Wednesday, I started hallucinating. Thursday, I hallucinated. Friday, I didn't hallucinate, and Saturday, I hallucinated. And while you're thinking, why don't you just take some Ambien and go to sleep? Well, the doctors wouldn't prescribe it, because they thought I had an Ambien addiction. Like, what? And I have insomnia, which is really weird, because I get really hyper when I don't have any sleep. Like, I mean, really hyper. You should have seen me at school. I was vibrating. I was just like, random hand motions. So anyway, I want to talk to you about my hallucinations. Being a perverted 14-year-old girl, most of them involved 2 anime guys having sex. Like crack pairings too, it was really weird. But one of them was a unicorn, and his name was Jeff, and he... a unicorn and Jeff, he was a vampire. There was a unicorn Jeff, he was a vampire. And it was on my jog, because I jog every day that I can. And he started running alongside me, and I'm like... But I'm at school, and they let you go to school alone. Well, not really, but they don't know I'm there. And I was running the track. And I was running, and he just popped up out of nowhere. I'm like, shit! And I never really hallucinated before, so I was like, this is another hallucination. And I kept running, started talking, I kept running. He started talking again, and I'm like, shut up! And this old guy was staring at me. He was like, and I'm like, it wasn't really funny. Other hallucinations consisted of Jushiro Ukitake from Bleach and Kimpashi Zaraki from Bleach on my bed. Right there. After that, I consistently threw everything I had on my bed, so they couldn't do it there. Which is why it looks like a yarn bomb went off. Anyway, so... Another one was Ed and Al from Fullmetal Alchemist, but Al's human body, you know? He was short-haired, buffer, you know, but still older. And so that happened. And then I saw some Uchiha Cest, which I wrote a lemon about on fanfiction. I will probably post the link down there or something. Fanfiction.net, which is amazing! And that's not all I wanted to talk to you all about. This video is only 3 minutes long, so why not? Okay. On my spring vacation, I went to Japan to see my sister, who's on an exchange trip. That was pretty awesome. But the first day I got there and wasn't like completely jet-lagged, we were taking a ferry to Amano Hashidate, which is like this beach strip of land, and it's gorgeous. Like seriously, they have this thing for tourists that you stand on your head. Well, you lean down and you look between your legs at Amano Hashidate, and it's supposed to look like the bridge to the heavens, which is what it means. Amano Hashidate roughly translates to bridge to the heavens or something. That's what Maya, she told me, or something. And if you don't know, I have very limited Japanese. Like, very limited. I can say my name. I can say, nice to meet you, my name is Rose, how are you? And, can I have a piece of bread? And, what the hell are you doing? Among other things. And I used the last line on Thursday. And, what happened was, actually, we were on the ferry to go to Amano Hashidate, and this guy decided to be a pervert and touch my ass. And I stood stock still for 3 seconds to see if it was just an accident, and I wasn't going to, like, claim he was a pervert when he wasn't. It stayed there. 3 seconds. So I turned around, being the ninja that I am, and bitch slapped him right upside the fucking head. This guy's like 5'6" or something, and I'm 4'11", so it didn't really, not that hard. He looks stunned, and I'm like, which really translates to, what the fuck are you doing? See, what the hell are you doing? What the fuck? It's pretty much the same thing. And my ass whips around, and she's like, what's wrong? What happened? Are you okay? And I'm like, he touched my ass! In English, because I can't say that in Japanese. And she looks at the guy, and in Japanese she says, "Did you?" And he's like, "Hi." And I'm like, see, he touched my ass. So she punched him really hard, and he went down, and everyone's staring at us by now, because I was screaming, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, and I'm only 14. And she's trying to explain to people that he touched my little sister on the butt, and you guys need to call the police. So they did. And when we got to Amanohashidate, which was like 5 minutes later, the police were there, and they were arresting the guy and telling Mayashi that he'd done this before. So they weren't really surprised, and he was going to go to jail for like a long time. And they needed my name and my statement, and she explains that I can't speak Japanese, but she can, so she like basically translates for us. And he's asking me like, where did he touch you and why? And I'm like, he touched my ass for like 3 seconds before I smacked the shit out of him. And she's like, roughly translated, he touched her on the butt for 3 seconds before she turned around and smacked him, and then screamed, "What the hell are you doing?" It was really funny. The guy, he's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, 14. And I can say that in Japanese, I'm like, 14. And he's like, "You look older." And I'm like, yeah, I get that a lot. And so we had to go to the police station and submit a report, and other than my exciting trip to Japan, that was basically it. And I'm sorry that I couldn't take any video, but I didn't have a video camera. This was my laptop, and I couldn't take it through airport security, because my sister was all like, "You're gonna lose it, I paid good money for that laptop, you're not losing it." And she offered me to use hers, but the minute we got there, it broke. Like, she turned it on, and it wouldn't turn on, and we're like, maybe it's not charged. We charged it, it wouldn't turn on. So we had to send it to the repair shop in Japan, and we got it back as soon as I was leaving. Like, I was getting on the plane when she texted me and said, "Hey, my camera's back," and I'm like, really? Really? That is not even right. Another thing, I have CRCT tomorrow, which means I have to get sleep soon. But other than CRCT testing, we're not going to do much at school because of CRCT testing, which means all we're going to do after the test is sit there and read a book and talk about how well we did and what we need to work on and what we didn't know or something. And I really see no point, because the CRCT test is basically the last test of the year, and once you take it, you can't retake it. So it's pretty much, why are we talking about this? We're already screwed anyway. If you didn't know it, you didn't know it. Whoop-de-doo. So I don't see any point in doing it, but the teachers do, like preparing us for next year or something, and I get that. But the thing about teachers after CRCT, they think that we are going to go all berserk and like not come to school anymore because we already took the CRCT. So they load us down the last like 6 weeks of school. They load us down with homework, like project after project after project, homework every night. You know, worksheets, assignments, book projects, everything that they can think of. You take notes all day, and by the end of the day, you've got writer's cramps, and you've got blisters right there, like most writers do. And it sucks. And in my experience, I've always done extremely well in the CRCT. I get exceeding in everything except for last year in social studies. I was 2 points down. Social studies has never been my greatest subject. And, so, CRCT, Japan perverts. I just want to let y'all know that the Japan thing was not, like, it didn't happen every day. It was a very isolated incident. This guy did it like 3 years ago. And Japan is really safe, actually. It really is. Like, you can walk on the street and no one's going to come up and stab you, like in Detroit. Come up, shank you, and run. They're not going to do that. They're going to be very polite, and they don't want to dishonor their family, so they're going to be like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I'm going to be like, "Yeah, I know some Japanese." I can introduce myself, and that's about it. Other things about Japan. It was really awesome, actually. I've never been to Japan, and it's been my life. And Amanohashidate is in a relatively unpopulated area. Though there are a lot of tourists, straight up. Like, everyone you meet speaks at least a little bit of English. Most of them are French, though. It was really weird. Like, no one I saw spoke English, and they were all French. And I met, like, 2 people that spoke English, but they were both really old, and old people love me. So they were like, oh yeah, you can stop by our apartment, or hotel room later. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay, bye. This video is so long. Jeez. So, Japan, CRCT, not, I mean, isolated incident. And spring break's over.